Welcome to the Unfiltered Thoughts podcast with the amazing soul. Nice having you guys here with me. This is the very first episode of the Unfiltered Thoughts. We're going to have some fun. Right before we start, I want you and I to try a fun activity. I want us to sit in silence for about 30 seconds. And I want us to give ourselves a very big, warm hug. Welcome again. Today's episode, I have decided to title it, Do You Know Who You Really Are? You see, the question, who am I, is something that comes up for most of us on our journey. And I'm going to be sharing my story with you. I will start by saying this. The truth is, I don't know who I am. But I have stories of how I've been able to navigate this journey I call life, or we call life. I'm going to share something with you. This is a picture of me when I was about 3 months old. A little baby came into this world, very clueless. And my birth name is Wonola, was given to me by my parents. So at this point in my life, there was no identity, right? It was just a baby, just being happy with life and just like experiencing life with no identity. So my parents gave me a name, Wonola. I'm from Lagos, Nigeria. And Wonola means, well, the full thing is Omo Wonola. Omo Wonola means a child born into wealth. Now, I took on that name and I took on that identity. Over time, this 3-month-old baby turned into this. Yeah. She started getting angry with the world, ultimately angry with herself, because I felt very alone as a child. I had parents who, they did the best they could, beautiful people in and out. They loved and they showed up as they could because it was passed on from their parents to them. And they're passing on the same thing without questioning status quo to me. But as a kid, I just never fit in. I felt very alone. And this child morphed into, at some point, this. This is an angry teenager that was consistently bullied in high school. over and over and over and over again because of how she looked. Remember how I said I just never fit in? How do you explain this baby? See these two pictures and see the emotion showing up on here. How do you explain this? It's very simple. Anger. I was a very angry child, and growing up, I didn't realize that anger was a natural emotion. I just kept suppressing it over and over for years, and that anger turned into rage. My parents, beautiful people, didn't even realize that, we're emotional beings. It's just like, oh, you give birth to children, you go to school, you get married, you have a job, you retire. That's what life is about. But for me, anger was something that was very embedded in me. And as a kid, there was never an opportunity for me to channel who I really was, which was my emotion. Natural human emotion. It's okay to be angry. But because I was not aware at that point that anger is a natural emotion, that anger morphed into rage. And that rage turned into physical body pain, lower back pain to be exact. I don't know if you heard this before, the body keeps score. I wasn't even aware my body was carrying so much anger over time. But I just felt and I saw that I was always very angry at people. I blamed everyone. I blamed my parents for a very long time. I blamed myself. I kept judging myself for a very, very, very long time. And I was very critical of myself for a very huge part of my life. There's a quote I would love to share with you. It's a popular Chinese quote. A man who blames everyone has a very long way to go on his journey. A man who blames himself is halfway there. And a man who blames no one has already arrived. You see, on my journey, I morphed from blaming everyone, pointing the fingers. My parents did this, that person did this, society did this, the government did that. It morphed from, okay, nobody did anything, I did it. Then I started to take the blame, started to blame myself. And that morphed to, there's actually no one to blame. It was just a human experience. It's neither good nor bad. Now, the lower back pain in question, I didn't even realize it was stored in my body till I joined the military. I had a very beautiful privilege and opportunity to serve in the United States Army for 3 years. And while I was at basic training in Fort Lee, Virginia, we're having a rock march. And I don't know if you guys know how heavy those rucksacks are. I'm only like 5'3". Those things are like, 90 pounds. They're really heavy. And I think it's an event called the Forge. So I think on the second night of the Forge or something, I just started feeling like excruciating pain. I'm on my lower back. And I was like, okay, what is this? So I went to sick call. They gave me meds, I didn't really think too much to it till I got stationed to Fort Liberty. This was back in 2019. And, I saw my primary care provider and I explained to him like, hey, I've had this back pain since AIT, but AIT is like a military training once you're done with basic training, essentially. Advanced something training, I don't remember. Advanced individual training. So I was like, I've had this, pain, and, I was just explaining to him. And he was like, okay, how about we do some MRI scans and do some physical therapy just to make the pains through the way. So, they enrolled me in physical therapy for about 13 months. I did that, but it wasn't still, I was still having excruciating pain for about 7 years of my life. I couldn't, I was unable to sleep on my back straight. It was excruciating pain. And obviously, bless the military, they gave me hordes of painkillers and medication, a lot of them. Nothing was working. And it's like a Band-Aid. That's what the meds were doing and the physical therapy. When you put a Band-Aid on your skin, you're not actually addressing the root cause. You're just like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna just keep covering it up. But the more I kept covering it up, it kept, creating a resistance within me. And, at some point that took a huge toll on my mental health, and I till this day, I truly appreciate that experience because it forced me to go within. And while that was going on in my life, I didn't have a choice. That they had to medically discharge me from the military because of that lower back pain. Now, you see how a lower back pain that the average person or the physical eyes be like, you know what? Oh, because she was doing a very strenuous physical activity. That's what happened. That really is not the root cause. The root cause of that lower back pain was anger. I wasn't able to express my anger as a child, as a teenager. So for over 30 years of my life, anger was stored in my body. And that anger turned into excruciating pain. So it wasn't the Rock March. It was because as a child, what I saw from my parents' society was you do not express your emotions. You suppress it. That's what I saw. That's what I took on. So the first 7 years of every child's life, that's how you form your subconscious belief system. Anything a child sees in the first 7 years is how they start to navigate life. And that's exactly what happened to me. I didn't see anyone around me who expressed natural human emotion. I didn't see anyone around me who said, it's okay to cry. It's okay to express your anger. I didn't see anyone. So what did I do? I pressed it down. I suppressed it. And that's the beautiful thing about emotion. You can suppress it, but only for a period of time. At some point, something will happen in your life that will force you to surrender. You can't force a river into submission. You have to go with the current. That's what this version of me allowed me to do. And when I came into the military, it was done suppressing itself. And I had to surrender to that pain. And I thank the pain because the pain was a gift from me to me. I transitioned out of the military and I was still having excruciating pain. I was moved to the VA medical center where I was still seeing like physical therapists, taking hordes of medication, painkillers. It still wasn't working. There's a quote, when the student is ready, the teacher would appear. I had a mentor that appeared in my life that shifted my perspective on my pain. His name is Andrea Pickens. I was explaining this pain to him and I was like, I don't know what to do. What I'm about to tell you might sound very uncomfortable because it did when I first heard it, but it was the truth. The truth is uncomfortable. Most of us don't want to hear it. But that's the only way you can grow. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable. And he told me, you enjoy the pain. You love going to your doctor's appointments. You love playing victim to the pain. That's why you keep having this pain in your life. The first time I heard this, I was very angry. And I was like, how dare you? How dare you tell me I enjoy this pain that I'm unable to sleep on my back for 7 years? I've been in excruciating pain. But you know, something about the truth is uncomfortable. But I needed to hear that. And I appreciate the fact that I heard that. Because that's when my transformation started. It forced me to surrender. You see, most of us on our journeys don't want to surrender to the unknown because for a very long time in our lives, we have been wired to use the logical part of our brain to navigate life. Your intellect is only going to take you so far. At some point, you got to let go of that 5-pound brain and embrace something else. It's called consciousness. It's energy. It's not something you can understand. So when I ask you, do you know who you really are? And the question of who am I don't know. The moment I try to figure out who I am, I've missed it. I've missed the whole point of being in this body. After that call with Andra and he told me that I'm a victim to my pain, I sat down after that call and I cried. I screamed. Still that angry kid. But it was the truth. The truth hurts. It will transform you though, I'll tell you that much. And I did something that I was scared shit to do for 32 years of my life. I canceled my doctor's appointments. I trashed my medication in the garbage. Yes, all of it. I was done repeating the same cycles over and over and over again. I was done. I was done playing victim, and I took back charge of my life. I stopped pointing fingers at myself. I stopped judging myself, and I surrendered to the pain. I did one thing. I sat with this pain that has been needing my attention for 32 years of my life. I literally thought I was going to die. Literally. That's how excruciating this pain was. But you see, on the other side of fear is everything that you desire and everything that is seeking you, which is ultimately yourself. I sat with this pain nonstop for a week. 1 week. 1 week of sitting with myself. No distraction, no bullshit. I sat with myself. That's it. Embraced my feelings, embraced my emotions, sat with my pain. And pain of 32 years, anger that a child couldn't express, that turned into excruciating pain, disappeared just like this in 1 week. You see, life is simple. Very simple. But we as human beings, we genuinely love to complicate the heck out of it. And that's okay. It's not good, it's not bad, it just is. The reason why we suffer is because we judge things in our lives. Life has no meaning until you assign an emotional value to it. What is good? What is bad? What is? That's the question you should ask yourself. It's relative. To the next person, their good might be their bad, and to the other person, their bad might be your good. Ultimately, it all lies on each individual to determine what is good and bad. So the real question lies is, what emotional value are you assigning to things in your life? Not what society told you. Not what your parents told you. Remember how I said my name was given to me? That's not who I am. But I embody that character though. One week and my life transformed. I didn't even know I had it in me to write a book. I wrote a book. The truth is, I do not know. Fun ways to make your life less complicated. This book, where I share my story and how the tools that helped me on my journey that transformed my life. Nothing complicated. Straight to the point, cutting through the bullshit. It's uncomfortable though, I'll tell you that much. But if someone had told me that I'll be a keynote speaker or I'll be an author 3-4 years ago, I'll be like, get out of here. What are you talking about? Right after the military, my logical brain was go find a 9-to-5 because money, security, safety. But in my world, that's boring. That's boring. As a human being, we're very creative beings. You know, keeping yourself in a box is very limiting. In my world, there is no box. There's no box. There's nothing. It's just vast, empty space where there's infinite possibilities. So if there are infinite possibilities for me to express myself in life, why would I choose a limited way of seeing myself? So the question that I always ask myself, and I'm posing to you, how dare you play small? How dare you play small? How dare you take on what people have told you on how to live your life? How dare you? I'm posing this challenge to you. Sit with it and see how your body responds and see what comes up for you. I chose to stop playing small and stop playing victim to my pain. And that pain brought about me writing books. That pain brought about me being a keynote speaker. That pain brought about me essentially transforming every aspect of my life. Stop being comfortable. I'll share with you a very short description on how the mind works. So, there's 2 cups here. This is a clear mind, and this is a mind with a lot of thoughts. We have an average of 80,000 thoughts every day as human beings, and most of us, this is how our minds are. So if your mind is like this, you're unable to hear yourself, in quote. And that's how most of us navigate life. Our minds are this. There's so much clutter in our minds. Now, this mind represents a clear mind. And how do you start to get a clear mind? Remember how I showed you the picture of the baby? This kid. This is this kid. This kid is this baby. And this this is this teenager, right? When you came into this world as a kid, there was no belief system. You could see the world just for what it is. There's no good, there's no bad. Now, when I started to transform my pain and transform my life, my mind transformed from this to this. So now I can see the world and see myself for what it truly is. It's not good, it's not bad, it just is. Because now there's no that is good or that is bad. There's none of that. But it took me sitting with myself. It took me surrendering and realizing that my intellect is only going to take me so far. I'm not going to come here and sit here and tell you it was pretty. The truth is not pretty. You see, when you look at a tree, do you say, I like or dislike this tree? You just admire the tree. So why do we as human beings, when we see another human being or see ourselves, we start to judge and be like, I don't like that part. Let's take that part away. As opposed to just seeing people or seeing ourselves just the way we are. You know, the moment we start to see ourselves as trees or people as trees, that judgment starts to fall away. And the only way is unconditional love. That's how I transform my life. Unconditionally loving every part of myself. So it was so easy to love anyone outside of me without no conditions. You don't have to do anything to earn this. It's just pure, infinite love. So the question, who am I? Yeah, ultimately me. There's no difference. I might look different in skin color, belief system, you know, where I was born. That's still all stories, right? Belief is a story you tell yourself when it becomes true for you. So the question is, what stories have you been telling yourself? Or what stories have been told to you that you've taken on as an identity? Start to sit with them. Anything I tell you, it's just lies. Don't take my word for it. Sit with what I'm telling you and start to question what was given to you over time. You go have a direct experience with what I'm trying to tell you. You don't need a teacher. You don't need a guru. You don't need a book for this. All you need to do is sit with yourself and ask, who am I? Who am I really? And see what comes up for you. That's a challenge. You know, once you can start to peel back the layers of the onion and really come to the center of the core, you'd be like, where have I been all this while? And you start to laugh at the absurdity. Like, I just chose to suffer for no reason. But it doesn't have to be like that. That's all I'm saying. I'm just posing that to you. It doesn't have to be like that. Life is simple. Excuse me. Life is fun. By the time you start to peel back the layers and start to see the stories you have told yourself and embodied as a character, you start to see how you've limited yourself. And that's okay. It's part of the human experience. Who am I? I'm not my name. I'm not my job title. I'm not the money in my bank account. Who am I? Do you know who you really are, my friend? Do you know who you really are? When the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace. Love, love, love. Love for everything and everyone. Love, that's how we navigate this chaos. And the very first person you gotta love is yourself. You can't give from an empty cup. You see, when you start to slow things down, the world will come to you, my friend. That's essentially how my life has transformed. I don't chase things. There's nothing to chase because I'm whole and complete. And if you can see a part of me in yourself, if you can feel the energy behind the words I'm saying right now and feel the truth behind it, you will know that there's nothing to add or remove from your life. There's nothing to fix ultimately. You're perfect, you're whole. You just have to realize who you really are. Take some time to slow down and realize the present moment. Everything you're looking for is right in front of you. There's no need to chase, but you just have to slow down and see it. I'll leave you with this. You are what you're seeking. You are what you are seeking. It's simple. It's not complicated. Till next time, my friend. Love, love, love.